Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending our April 17th Improving Talk. We are thrilled you're spending some of your Wednesday with us. Before we start, I want to inform you about a feature in the presentation that will make the session a bit more interactive. Please note the Q&A icon on the presentation screen located at the bottom. Clicking on that icon will open the question and answer feature, which allows you to send the moderator questions to be delivered to our insightful presenters at the appropriate time. Speaking of insightful presenters, I am proud to welcome Janet Morales Ramirez, a director at Improving, and Armando Valadez Cardona, a technical lead at Improving. Today, Janet and Armando will be sharing a talk titled Driving Change with Agile Solutions. The floor is all yours, Janet and Armando.
Thank you, Shelvin. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, and thank you for being here with us today. This is our agenda. We are going to talk a little bit about business agility, and also we are going to showcase two case studies of what we did to impact that business agility on our own organization here at Mexico, but also with the organization of some of our clients. So, but first of all, please, Armando, would you like to present yourself?
Sure, thank you, Janet. Hi, everyone. This is Armando Valadez. I have, I work at Improving since almost 6 years ago. I have a degree on computer science. I have a technical background. I've been developer, manager of different type of engagements. And right now I'm a Scrum Master Agile coach. I'm also a technical lead for some Agilists in Improving Mexico. And I hold some certifications by Scrum.org, Scrum Master, Product Owner, Agile Leadership, and some other things that help me to support clients. And thank you for being here.
Thank you, Armando. And I'm Janet Morales. I'm Technical Director here at Improving Mexico for JavaScript and Agile teams. The Agile teams include the product owners, Agile coaches, Scrum Masters here, that are located here in Mexico. And the JavaScript team include developers with front-end, back-end, full-stack experience using that tech stack. And I also have a technical background. I've been a developer for like more than 10 years. Then I moved to the Scrum Mastery world and product ownership and Agile coaching. And let's start. So what is business agility? We like to present this concept. It's one of the one we like it. Business agility, let's remember that change is a constant right now. And we live in times of change. So business agility will allows us to respond to that change properly. For organizations that need to survive all this changing environment, they must be able to respond quickly to that change, but with innovative, high-quality products and services, so they can have their customers as the center of all those innovative and high-quality solutions. But they need to also trying to respond faster than their competitors, right? That is business agility. It requires that everybody in the organization is involved in the delivering of that solution. And what that means, that includes leaders, that include if they have a development department, that include that department as well. Also IT, operation, finance, the whole organization, not just one part of it. And they should never forget the customer. Who is the customer? Is an internal, external customers. Business agility also need that constant engagement with our customers, right? However, it's a fact that business agility is really hard to achieve, right? So we like also to present to you these core competencies. These are the core competencies for business agility that is included in one framework that really impact that business agility in our organizations. And it's safe, it's a scale framework agile, but there are other frameworks and practices that you can find that can help you to gain that agility that your organization needs. We like to present this because it showcases all the areas or the core competencies, as the name, is the name, that we need to take into account if we want to gain this agility. One of them is we need to take care of enable cross-functional teams so that those teams can deliver high quality, valuable products efficiently, with a focus on quality. Quality is a must. Also, we should emphasize the rapid customer-centric delivery of those products or services or solutions. With academies, we should get that feedback from our customer as early as possible, with a continuous delivery at some point. Also, we should facilitate the coordination and alignment of multiple agile teams if we need to develop or deliver a large scale solution, right? But we need to do all of this with optimizing the allocation of resources, and also the investment decisions should be made to maximize our business value. But also our organization processes must be impacted, should be impacted with each change. We need to foster the adaptability and the resilience throughout the whole organization in this response to change. And we need to encourage a mindset of learning, experimentation, adapting at all levels, and adaptation at all levels of the organization. And last but not least, the leaders. The leaders will help us to promote this culture of innovation that we need, and also continuous improvement. These leaders will empower individuals and teams to reach this highest potential, right, in achieving those desired goals. They will put a focus on the mindset, on the principles. They will lead by example, and also they will help our organization to lead this change, right? Well, having said that, let's start with our first case study. As a technical director, one of our many responsibilities is to take care about the skills development of our teams, right? As this is a really important activity or task, it's really challenging to deal with some problems. Remember, we here improving our consultants, so we often struggle a lot trying to allocate sufficient time for having a team or a group of people getting trained, because they need to achieve their project deadlines or maybe any operational demands. But also, but we should put a focus on that, because we know that there is this technological change require us to continuous learning and keep our skills up to date. So, and also take into account that not everybody, a team is consists of individuals, and not everybody have the same learning pace. So to absorb the new knowledge that they are learning, right? So it's really challenging if we want to level up the skill set of a whole team. So we were facing this, and then we found out a framework that combined Scrum and education. And it was really interesting. It's not the point of this talk to explain to you this framework, but you can easily find more information about it. The name is Scrum, and what I like about this framework is that the responsibility of the learning process is delegated from a teacher, if we use a traditional learning process, to students. And the only work that they need to be done at the end of a learning cycle, is to learn, to learn something new, to achieve some learning goals. So how did we do this here at Improving Mexico? Of course, we twist a little bit the framework so it can be applied to our scenarios, right? We started to gather a team, we call it organizing team, that will include SMEs, our matter experts, and also mentors, and can include other stakeholders from other departments different to delivery, and also technical leaders or technical directors. And we start planning the whole program first. What will include that planning? It will include how many learning cycles do we need? What are the learning goals that we want or the attendees to achieve? And also, we prepare a list of suggested material per learning goals. Once we have that, we launched the academy. We would like to call this program like academies. And all the improvers that registered to that academy participate in this first call with all the stakeholders, SMEs, and the organizing team. And there in that first meeting, the teams are going to be created, and one team captain is going to be named per team. Then they start to that all the learning cycles or the iterations, and but focusing on the learning goal of that iteration that they are in. Then everything will define their learning process. And this is really interesting, but because not all the teams will have the same cadence, not all the teams will meet at the same time, or not all of them will meet daily, but they have a daily touch base among everybody. And they will define a process to achieve that learning goal of that learning cycle, right? At the end of the iteration, we meet again with all the teams, with all the stakeholders and the SMEs, and the teams will showcase what they learn, how they learning. If they find any additional material, they also will be shared those in that meeting. But what is really interesting is when you see teams answering questions of other teams. So that really demonstrate that they absorb that new knowledge, right? And then all the teams will have a retro because the idea is to continuously improving their processes. At the end of all the academy, once it's finished, we gather again the organizing committee so we can do a retrospective of the whole program and also get some lessons learned and what we should improve for the next one. We also like to have a Scrum Master, but a junior one, observing and organizing teams and facilitating events if needed, and also coordinating all the communication. Normally, we have some developers or testers or professionals of other areas different to Agile that want that career change. So this is a beautiful opportunity for them to gain some experience in communication, in facilitating, in sharing knowledge with other people, right? And we normally have them doing this through the whole exercise. So this is how I wanted to show you a couple of implementations of this whole model. The first one we used it was 3 years ago in a JavaScript Academy. And at that time, we had a team of mentors that were observing the teams, answering questions, help them with one-on-ones, talks, or even pre-programming. And at that time, we had 13 improvers, entry-level developers that were learning JavaScript, and 3 teams were created at that time. And the learning cycle length was 2 weeks, And at the end, well, we had this review. Everything we had 20 minutes for presentations, for answering questions, asking questions also. And we did it all of this remotely. We use Microsoft Teams for the whole communication, Miro for all the information and sharing information among all the teams, and also we use SharePoint. But currently we have one really big academy right now. The name is Cloud Academy for Developers, and we apply what we learned from the previous ones. And this time we have 60 developers joining this academy, and 9 teams were created. This one we wanted to be shorter, so the learning cycle length is 1 week. And again, we are doing all of this remotely using Microsoft Teams, Miro, and SharePoint as well. What was the impact that we saw on the teams once the academy is finished? Well, for sure, they were more motivated, they were self-managed, they learned how to work on teams. It was beautiful to see the JavaScript Academy. It was like almost the first time that some of the team members were actually working as a team, were actually collaborating with each other. It was really beautiful to see that. And also for the team captains, they improved their communication skills and also their leadership skills. Okay, so sorry about that. And here, having the learning response on Teams, it was a real experience. It was the first time for some team members that were working using this module, right? Normally they were used to have a teacher that impact on the content, and then they passively learn. In this case, it was really a mindset change for them. And what we get, more engaged improvers also. So you already saw that slide, but what were the areas that we impacted with this program? Well, of course, the continuous learning culture, but also with the new knowledge they gained, they impacted the quality of the work on the projects. And of course, it was impacted the product delivery of the products. They learned how to, the importance of testing since the beginning. They learned the importance of automating as much as possible, of having a good quality in our code base. They learned a lot about actually product delivery and the technical excellence that we need on our improvers. So Armando, would you like to talk about the second case
Sure,
study?
Janet. Thank you. So let's continue with this conversation around business agility. So today I will be presenting a comprehensive business case that draws from different client engagements. It's not a single one. So we will be showing case some of the common problems that these clients faced. So let's go to next slide, please. Okay, so just to explain those clients that we work with and that actually enlisted our support to work with their strategic initiatives. Well, they operate in different sectors, including market research solutions. We work for a manufacturing, pharmaceutical manufacturing and distribution company, and also work for a donations management solutions campaign. So they both offer, well, this list of clients offer both digital and physical products. So this reflects the diverse landscape of contemporary business challenges. So we will explore those on this presentation. So just to make us a quick summary, for example, they want to deliver high value products, of course, to be competitive, right? And actually stay on the market, right? Also, some of these clients have strategies to work with the vendors from lower costs, right? As easier it is our case for improving Mexico. We offer these nearshore services. So especially when they have these deep investments on new features, enhancements, and everything, by having this type of savings, they really get a return on the investment earlier, right? So this is a pretty important strategy. They will uphold stringent time constraints, right? Because they need to align to their budgeting programs, right? To their finance departments, but also it's good for them because they know when things can be done and align to their time to market strategy. As they discover new businesses and opportunities, right, they may want to create enhancements and new products and everything. So all that will bring additional work that needs to be made. So these clients need to solve that situation. And they also need to find ways, creative ways to optimize the allocation of resources so that they have a good profitability on their business, right? So as I said, I will explain all the different solutions that we employ with these clients to support them, right? And now it doesn't mean that we apply everything. So it doesn't mean that we, as Scrum Master coaches, support these clients to do all the implementations. There are different levels always. So we need to see those gaps, right? And actually try to coach on these areas where we think there is an area of opportunity. So next, Janet, please. All right, so the first solution is to deliver high value products. So our first approach, I am listing only the three most important that happens to us. They may be, you can argue, anyone can argue that there are more and probably more important. Well, this is the ones that we determine that are the key to implement. So the first one was to focus on the product management strategy. So a great deal of our coaching efforts were centered into the product owners because they are crucial, right? They are crucial to maximizing this product value. They must possess a good understanding, of customer requirements, market dynamics, and of course, business objectives. And something I would like to emphasize again, as Janet explained on the business agility map, is the customer centricity, right? It's very important that product owners do the needful in order to understand what the clients want, right? What they need, their desires, and actually the pain points, right? That sometimes we need to address with these solutions that we are building, right? Also establishing a product vision and setting ambitious but achievable goals. We can empower teams to try for excellence, right? And also to focus on delivering this value to customers that makes sense for them. and deliver this value early and frequent, right, is pretty important, so that we can validate those features in the market, right, and actually determine if this is a real business, right? So that is pretty important, and teams should focus. And I think that's one of the competitive advantages of the agility, right? To deliver early and based on the empiricism, that is to inspect and adapt, right? It's pretty important to deliver this value. Some of our implementations, you probably may see this like very familiar. I mean, if you're an agilist or have worked on this environment, but definitely backlog management is something that we focus on. We try to coach product owners to see all the gaps that they have on the process. The basic idea here is to streamline the process of generating these requirements to build high value features, right? So it's very important to have this, to make this process smooth, right? We may want to facilitate good sprint reviews, because on this event, we not only inspect the progress towards the product goal, but also we receive valuable feedback from clients, right, from our stakeholders, basically to adapt, right, our backlog and keep building high valuable features, right? And of course, we recommend always to put this, or try to put this in a roadmap, right, or in a user story mapping, of course, with the support of the Agile teams, right, because they are the ones that determine the capacity, and together they can put a good plan to show also to stakeholders, right? And of course, we need to define the state of the quality, how we want it, so that well, these products that we are delivering have this high quality. Next slide, please, Janet. Yeah. Now, the solution to meeting high work demands, well, the first and most important is to have a good implementation of an Agile framework, right? Because that's the base to organize our work and do whatever we want to do. So in this case, for these cases, we mainly use Scrum, which is I guess the one that we dominate. Scrum is a lightweight framework that helps us to resolve complex problems in complex environments. So a really great tool to help clients to achieve their business goals. But we have other implementations like Kanban that help us to visualize the work that we are doing in a better way and actually optimize our flow. And I think we apply some Nexus principles. Nexus is a framework to scale, actually, Scrum. To scale means that we have different teams working in the same product. So Nexus helps us to integrate properly the work of all these teams, right, in order to achieve the goals. And also, well, safe that, well, we didn't apply, but it is very worth to mention. It is a framework that I think helps us to elevate those Agile practices to higher levels in the organization. And it also provides a good guiding on how these different scaled teams can interact each other in order to reach as well the business objectives. So by having ruthlessly prioritization and doing high impact tasks that directly contribute to the business goals, we can make the teams to maximize their effectiveness, right? And also to allocate limited resources, as we are talking about high working demands. By knowing this, the teams are able to distribute properly and allocate the work on the features that provide more value, right? And of course, building high performance, cross-functional self-management teams takes a great part of our coaching efforts, because these teams are characterized for collaborating efficiently, right? To adapt to changes, right? It needed, and also to deliver value consistently, right? So if we cultivate also a culture of trust, accountability, and process improvement, organizations can empower these teams to take ownership of the work that they are doing, right? To take more autonomous decisions and actually innovate more, right? So it's pretty important to build all this. So something that we have done is of course training and coaching. That's the first things we do, right? Make like the Agile principles a standard for anyone. We evangelize on a daily basis the Scrum values and principles in order to avoid having what we call the mechanical implementation of Scrum or any other framework that you are using. Of course, having backlog refinement is pretty important so that we can make progress and actually clarify whatever needs to be built, right? And size it. And then, well, we have other approaches like Kanban and some artifacts that we can use to leverage these practices. Next slide, Janet, please. Okay, so our solution to global scale first is to establish clear communication channels and methods. That's pretty important, especially if the people is located in different locations, countries, time zones. So we may want to create working agreements among the teams to be able to have these, especially these long distance resources connected, right, to the team and also to the business objectives. So in this case, we make a lot of use of the technology, right? And I think we see this a lot during the pandemics, right? When we needed to interact on distance. But well, of course, for us that we work in a longer distance, yeah, that's our day-to-day. So we can have tools synchronous and then asynchronous, right? It's important to have those so that everyone can put updates and do the needful. Also, we may need to adapt the Agile practices and actually, for example, the Scrum events. We may want to use tools, digital tools to enable all those processes, right? So we have different cases that I will explain, but also it's very important to understand all these cultural differences. For example, well, some countries like Mexico is pretty aligned to some of our clients in North America, right? But anyway, we still need to determine what those cultural norms are, the working preferences, communication styles, and all that is important so that we avoid. Well, first we foster inclusivity, right? But also we prevent having misunderstanding in all the aspects. So we have implemented, as I said, this launch workshops where we determine, I mean, several things, our objectives, way to measure, communication channels, and everything. We have a lot of we have used a good set of tools for collaboration, Teams, Slack, Mural. We are not being paid for these companies, just trying to make an example. Tracking tools pretty important so that we understand what's the current state of the work at any point. Project management tools that are also very useful. Knowledge base, of course, and also pretty important to have some shared calendar, because as we work in different places, we need to understand all the times that the team won't be available. Next slide. In terms of the time constraints, some approach that I've seen is doing short-term planning rather than long-term. For example, I leave this with a few clients where they plan, let's say, for a quarter, right? Because with this, we not only can split the work in smaller and more manageable pieces, right, of work, but we can also have more predictability, right? If we plan in a longer term, yeah, it will be difficult to accomplish, right? And now, well, I'm not saying that in Agile, well, everything is set in stone, because we deal with complex environments, as I explained it. However, well, it's pretty important to do this strategy, right? And then, of course, we can have some initiatives stated, right, that will be done later on the way, but definitely we would like to plan shortly. Also creating these time boxes. On Agile, we create a lot of time boxes to do something. For example, on the Scrum events, we have a time box, because that helps the team to focus really on the important things, right? And we usually they are able to do whatever is needed on this specific time frame. And of course, evaluating frequently our processes, our areas of opportunity, and actually changing. For example, if we are talking about time constraints, well, it's very important to determine during each of our interactions what are the things that we can improve, and what are the impediments that we would like to remove so that we advance faster on the process, right? So sprint reviews, sprint retrospectives, pretty important, yeah, to deal with those. We have some good graphs that show, for example, this burn up shows, I mean, the whole scope that we need to do on this planet time, right? And actually we can determine what is the current progress and make changes, right, accordingly, in order to improve the chances to be on time, right? And we have other type of information that we have. Sizing is very important to do an agile sizing. And I've given a class, 1 hour class, to show all this how to deal with this certainty that is sometimes required, despite of the fact that we are agile, we are working on agile environments. Next slide, Janet. So last but not least, on these solutions to this type of problems, optimizing the resource allocation. Well, first, and probably this is something that all of the companies have. Yeah, I don't want to say that we support on implementing it. All the companies have some kind of portfolio management strategy, right? However, well, what we do is align to those, right, and probably make recommendations. So this is important because we can identify, we can select, prioritize, and oversee the progress of the different projects and initiatives that contribute to the business goals, right? So, and for that, for example, the Agile teams and the coaches, we support on providing, right, metrics that are fact-based. For example, this evidence-based management, and there is an improving class given for that, where we base on facts, right? We base on the metrics, key performance indicators, even feedback from the clients to make better decisions, right? Decisions based on facts and actual information. So, and also measuring the capacities is another good practice that we implement, so that we provide with this information to the business and they can do a better planning, right, on their portfolio management strategies. So for this, we have implemented some of the Kanban practices and the flow metrics that help us see and identify if there is any problem, right? And that's for this slide. The next, Janet, please. So the impacts that we have had for these engagements and that our clients provided feedback. First, well, we have because of these implementations higher value on the products that our clients develop. Of course, we have implemented transparency, right, and to use this information to take better decisions, and of course, well, alignment to business goals. If they are not established, well, we just need to support or to coach the client doing that. We have higher predictability that helps our clients to understand when these high value features are going to be released to the market. Of course, the cost efficiencies, not only because of the nearshore strategies, but also, well, to help us see things, right, that and that we can, that help us to allocate better the resources. And finally, well, is just creating environments where the people can perform, right, and be more efficient. And of course, as we have all these practices, well, typically we will have teams that have a good rhythm, right, and a stable rhythm to keep producing during the time. Next, please, Janet. So seeing this map, I think with these strategies, we cover most of the competencies of the business agility. I don't want to say that we didn't interact with the enterprise solution delivery or organizational agility. We do that support. We even have enterprise Agile coaches at improving that. Sometimes are will work on those areas deeply, right? But I would say that we cover a good part of these competencies in our with our clients. And next slide, and I think it's time for you, Janet, to wrap it up.
Okay, thank you, Armando. Well, remember that agility is not a final destination, it's an ongoing process, and we need to continuously improve in the previous areas that we were showing about business agility. If we need to start, we will recommend to start with a small experiments and pivot needed, learn from them and then adjust, right? And we invite all of you to continue sharing experiences like these ones and learning from each other as a community, participating in events like this because we are dealing with complexity, right? And we can learn about others' experience. And we have these questions for you based on the 7 core areas of competencies of business agility that we were showing. How can you assess your organization existing agility and what areas you identify that need some improvement? If you want, you can share with us using the chat or think about it, right? Remember that it's not a final destination. We just not get to an agility point and that's it. We need to continuously improving. It's an ongoing pathway with constant adaptation, learning, and a lot of flexibility. So that's all that we have. Shervin, if you
So I have a
want
question
to-
for you guys.
Okay.
So Armando, Janet, what steps can organizations take to foster a more agile mindset within their teams?
If you want, I can answer that. There is not like a list of tasks that you need to do. It's not. It will depend on your organization or and your team's maturity with Agile. The first things that we like to do is to trying to level up that mindset, doing some trainings and talking with people. We can know how mature are they to gain this agility that we need. But doing some workshop, some trainings, you can level up. That's the first one. Then maybe try small experiments. Maybe you can start, if you are not doing any framework at all, trying to start implementing one. You need to change that mindset, but if you do a lot of things at the same time, you won't know what actually worked. And maybe people will see a lot of changes and you will get some pushback, right? So start with a workshop is something that I would recommend. Then check what Agile framework or practice is better for your organization. Maybe Scrum is too much. Maybe you just need a Kanban because you want to optimize the workflow. Or maybe you need to scale, and a scale is more complex. So, but yes, start small, doing some practices, maybe implementing few parts of the framework that the organization need, and pivot.
Very good. One more. How important is leadership buy-in to the success of an agile adoption? And what strategies can leaders employ to encourage this buy-in from other leaders?
Well, I guess I can respond to that. Well, I think that's essential. I mean, having the buy-in of especially top management, yeah, because sometimes we see these differences, right? And they request us to do the framework implementations, right? But the mindset of the top management keeps the same. So the only thing that we can do as agilists is evangelize, right? Train and coach, and try doing this every day, right? And I've seen personally some challenges doing that, right? But we always try to find the ways to approach all the necessary stakeholders, right, on the company, and speak to them, right? And speak to them about the benefits of implementing Agile, of working in an Agile way. But do not limit that to the teams, but also trying to set this vision, right, with the company, so that we are, well, just taking advantage of the benefits of the business agility.
Right. Thank you guys very much. And thank you everybody for attending today's Improving Talk. Thank you, Janet and Armando, for sharing driving change with Agile Solutions. The recording of the session will be available the next business day. To view the recording, locate the session from Improving's virtual events page, where you can also register for future events. Hope you all have a wonderful week.
Thank you so much, Ervin and Armando, and thank you all for being here with us today.
Thank you very much, everyone.